Welcome back to your favorite podcast. Nope, sorry. The Marvel. Yeah, no, shoot. The Snapchat. God, welcome back to Good or Garbage.
Oh my God! Just no.
Yo. Check the mic 1 2. Welcome to the band list. What? Welcome to the band list.
You know, man, like...
Welcome back to the band list.
It's 5 times, 5 episodes, 5 wrong names, and 5 topics. I am seeing a trend for the day, good sir, and I'm already... I'm taking the glasses off for this because... Oh, dear God, if this is how the day is going to start. I let you do an intro one time, and that's what you roll with?
My bad. I was just excited. We're a podcast now, as we're on podcast platforms, right?
Yes.
It's an hour-long episode, and I was excited. And I was thinking about other podcasts as well that we've been on or have done, and got myself really confused.
No, you're not wrong. I mean, and there's a lot of them as you were listing them too, and I was thinking there's a lot of them. Number one. Number two, there's even more that weren't listed, and now we're adding ourselves into that mix because Spotify now has video. Well, it has had video, and now Apple's about to start getting podcast video as well. So whether you're watching on YouTube, on Apple, on Spotify, you're now able to get the band list in multiple different formats. So we're going to try this like this, and we're giving in. We give up because it was a constant conversation when we were creating the series. Are we going to do a short form? Are we going to do a long form? And we're like, what's going to work? So we said, sure, let's try to aim for that 25-minute sweet spot. And every single episode has gone longer. And we're like, let's just lean into it. Let's go even further. So here we are. Now we're just going to, really lean in and do 2 topics a piece. Taxi is just like, I'm out of here. I'm done. He doesn't want to sit on my lap anymore because I said two topics a piece, and he's like, I ain't staying for this entire thing. But
that's fair.
And I understand it, but I hope that you do, unlike my dog, because you will understand what we're talking about. He is only interested in yogurt and treats. So
and warmth.
This is
like
true
the warmth
too.
of other bodies.
This is very true.
Or is it the smell?
I'm going to go with warmth.
With dogs.
I'm going to go with warmth just because I am naturally incredibly radiating.
I think with that, you really, if you're radiating, I want to hear what you're bringing up immediately. I don't know. Sorry, Mr. Radiation over here.
No,
Bruce Banner got nothing on you.
No, not at all. He's probably no. I got that. I've got more hair than Bruce Banner half of the time.
I got
so
that.
That's fine. I will say this though. I am very intrigued to see how people comment this week, because now we're taking on more topics, to discuss every single week, and people are trying to win season passes. And next week, we're going to be heading into a new season. So this is your opportunity to get a season pass right now. Just head down to the comment section with something that you believe should be on the ban list that we have not talked about before. So use the hashtag #BanMe. We'll take a look at it. And the final topic of the day will always be us picking our individual favorite comment that has something that we agree with to go onto the ban list. With that said, if we choose the same one, that person, hey, you're going to get a season pass. So this is your chance right now. I'm going to leave it up to you. As always, good sir, would you like to lead off or would you like to go second?
I want you to lead off. I was what I was trying to allude to earlier with the radiation comment.
That's fine. I mean, I'm always radiating here, but I'm going to start off with something that's more of a mild grievance more than anything else. Just because I think it's a inconvenience because I want to interact with it more. One of my favorite things in this game is something I know that you specifically, Mr. Not My Dance, are incredibly passionate about. So much so that you decided, if I can't keep up with Super Tech God in variants, I'm just going to do it in emotes. And I would like to put the emote UI on the ban list. Here's my conversation with this. We have dozens of different emotes in this game. And there's a lot of really cool ones, right? There's really a lot of really cool ones. And we've gotten them from limited time game modes, from different bundles, from different unlocks. And it's like, you know, there's a lot of cool things that we can do with emotes. However, I hate that they basically think we're going to customize every emote to every deck. Like, oh, these are the top 3 I'm going to play with this deck in the game. So I want these 3 on the top, and then everything else is just in order in which you got it. Plus, you can only see 12 of them on your screen. Now, I know it's mobile forward, and figuring out how to put more emotes to be able to be chosen per I'm sorry. It is large. It is clunky. It is awkward. And as someone who thinks emotes can be used responsibly, I would love to see them be used more responsibly, because right now the emote UI is detestable and needs to be completely redone and reworked. I am putting the current emote UI on the ban list.
God, that's an interesting one. And I'm saying it's interesting as well because I've told you in the past that I have a bunch of them I have put on, like, I have a bunch of things that I eventually want to put on the ban list. And I've talked about them and I've written it down in the past. And I kid you not, last night I actually added a new one on there. Emotes. As a whole.
Really? As a whole?
As a whole.
Huh.
But you're talking about specifically I'll save the conversation for another day. I have other stuff about it, and I'm not doing it today. But specifically, the emote UI is a very interesting way to look at it, and I think we can roast this. I think we can roast it.
Nice. Yeah, man.
It's good, and part of the reason, honestly, I'm completely chill with this meta roast is I have talked to Second Dinner about fixing it, and I know for a fact that I've gotten a screenshot of their like Slack or whatever, in which they said, "Hi, there's a user who has every single emote. He would like it if you changed this UI." That's an actual conversation.
I fully believe that. I 100% believe that, because I just hate the fact that they're basically taking an older concept. You know, when the game first came out, the thing that they preached was unique collections, unique experiences, unique X, Y, and Z. And you can see that in the UI because you have the ability to change the card back per deck, the title per deck, and the avatar, and now, of course, the reactions and the emotes per deck. This whole system, especially for the emotes, sucks. Like, in all different ways, shapes, and forms. It's inefficient, it's clunky, it's ugly, I'm not gonna lie. And I feel like we should have easier ways to use the emotes in game, because I understand needing to have the difference between the reactions ones when you're reacting to cards and locations versus like you're trying to communicate, quote unquote, you know, via emotes. And I know a lot of people don't like emotes. I get that. And I can respect that. Some people just don't want to deal with the emote conversation. They immediately mute everybody because they don't want to deal with it. They just want to play the game. I can respect that 100%. But there is a huge community out there of people who really do enjoy using the emotes to communicate and send messages. And I don't want it to be in a toxic way, because if you've been playing the game long enough, you understand certain emotes seem to have certain personas attached to them, and certain use cases can be really that just like rubs salt in the wound type moments. But that doesn't change the fact that if you're trying to use them, it's really, really awkward. Like, really awkward.
Yeah. No, I agree. It's a really awkward set, especially, and I think it was a lot better when it was, you know, we only had the first 5. We were fine there because you could just click it, you pull it up. And maybe if you had one extra page, it was still okay. But as we get further and further and further, I'm sitting here like, I think I've got 6 pages right now. If I try to pull it up, it's bad.
Yeah. I'm
It
I know we've been playing for 2 years plus, almost, 4 for some. And I'm basically at the point where if I'm past 3 pages to have to scroll to get something, it's just not worth doing anymore. And I'd like to be able to have a much easier way to do that. Because right now, any capacity to do so, you only get 12 on a screen. And I have 6 pages of them, mainly because there are these weird title ones that they've never made any more of. Arg, I don't believe you. I'm confident. Like, they stopped with words. Seconded or stopped words. They said these are never going to come back.
I would never words.
Yeah, J. Jonah Jameson was a bad idea. We're not making more words. So let's just keep giving them pretty pictures. And these PNGs can communicate messages. But it just feels awful when I'm trying to get over to here. Like, oh, shit, I want the bring it on one. Oh, no, wait, no, now I got to go back to my front page here. And then, I only have 3 I can pin at the top. And it's just, I know it's a simple grievance. And I'm opening specifically because we're doing a longer episode today, right? I'm opening with this lighter one because it's something silly, but is something that is an inconvenience that I do think it's actually hurting the game from a economy standpoint, because it's decentivizing the interaction with the mechanic because the mechanic is not efficient or, just efficient.
I think efficient's fair, yeah. Because I think you're correct in what you said earlier. A lot of this stuff is based off of our smaller collections that we would have had earlier on in the game's life cycle.
Yes.
And they're fine. It's fine if we only have, 5 emotes, maybe 6, maybe we are at 12. I don't know. But there's a period of time where emotes were a lot rare. We weren't getting 1 or 2 each season. But now we have so many more. And it just keeps piling up, and it feels bad. And in a similar way, I think they do. That's an area that you can see reflected across a vast majority of Snap when you look at, right, one of our first conversations that we had was the collection filter. Yeah. That stuff is based off of, okay, we only have a couple of cards that work with this, and they're shown here.
Yep.
Okay. But now we're in a place where a lot more of these nuanced situations for maybe what a discard card might be, we don't see DAC in there. We don't see a lot of other stuff that's just like, it's technically rarer, but they should be shown. And I think that's a very fair point. There's a lot of different sections we can apply that to, but I think especially here for this emote list, yeah, I think that's entirely fair. I'm here for it. I think that should 100% be on the ban list. I support that. I think Lauren Whatevs put up a video or like a guide of how to organize your entire thing.
Your emotes?
Because I was talking to her. All of them. Yeah. It's apparently a complicated process, but you can do it and set up each one of them in the exact order you want. I don't know how to do it. I didn't read it, but she told me about it. And I was like, that's cool.
Somebody send us the article information link down in the comments below, please, because I'd love to be able to do that and have more control over it. Yeah. But the fact that it takes an entire article of a difficult process to get the emotes in the order that you want. Really, second dinner? I'm sorry. Banned.
I was going to make a thing for that. I literally pulled up I have stuff for it. I just forgot to make that. I hopefully we'll have one of those soon.
It's okay. I do forgive you. I'm just going to have to, let it slide for, of course, the first one we're putting on podcast platforms, and, you're unprepared. So sure, fine, whatever. All right.
I mean,
it is what it is.
To be fair, I was unprepared in a couple other ways, but it's okay.
It's okay.
I like the topic that you brought up immediately, because I think it's a really natural segue for what I want to talk about, which this is the most meta one we've had so far. And I didn't think I'd be able to do it as soon as episode 5, but I want to ban requests for serious topics to go on the ban list.
What? I don't know if I'm going to let you skate on that.
You don't want, here's the thing. I've got a list. That doesn't need to be on the ban list in the end. But right, I feel like in every single episode, there's the comment that I see from someone where it's like, all right, this is cool, but this is silly. Like, talk about the serious stuff. it's more the show is more entertaining if we don't just talk about serious stuff. If we get to talk about the silly things like the emote UI, like, yeah, it's serious, but it's also not a big like pain point for people, and I feel like there's a middle ground there. If you want to tell me like this isn't even like a meta, doesn't even get any of those, doesn't even count, that's fine. But I thought of this and I was like, this is a different style of request for banning that I kind of liked. Mm-hmm.
Huh. As much as you're very clearly also comment baiting.
I know. I would never.
You never. No. For real though, I am going to take you to court though on it. Oh my God. Legitimately.
Ooh. Okay.
Okay. So the reason I want to actually take you to court on this is because the people want to be heard, right? People want to be able to air their grievances. And very often a lot of people will live vicariously through creators or can connect with creators because of a belief, an opinion, etc. And when people are commenting on these types of, and let me be clear, I'm going to talk generically. I'm not even talking about the ban list. I'm just talking about generically speaking. A lot of people who reply in YouTube comments are looking for an outlet to be heard. Now, whether that's by the creator or by other people down in the comment section, it really depends on the intent of the message. But either way, both normally end up being absorbed. And as someone who's, generated this idea of the ban list and having a conversation about things that are happening in the world of Marvel Snap and the whole concept of this specific idea was to be a different kind of show. I remember having conversations with you right from the very beginning that we wanted to make sure that we didn't have it exclusively be a wine fest every single week. And how do we do that? Because there are some weeks where it's really tough to be a Marvel Snap player, and there's some weeks where it's really easy to be a Marvel Snap player. And not every week is going to have grievances associated to it. Sometimes, yes, there's really obvious ones that happen. Like look at a year ago when the whole Newverse thing happened. That would have been that topic. It would have been perfect as a multi-tiered layer of ban list material. But then we go through really solid metas where everybody absolutely is nothing but rainbows and unicorns. And when people are commenting that they want us to talk about serious topics, they're not trying to say, take the show seriously. They're trying to say, I want you to say the thing that I know I agree with too, so I can complain about it and have alignment. They're looking for validation very often with that type of comment. They want to know that it's safe to talk about something that makes them frustrated. And from a creator's standpoint, I'm always going to welcome that. I'm always going to welcome a conversation to get people to say, listen, talk what you want to talk. But I always have my entire content creator career, I have always said, have a constructive conversation. And that was part of the origin for this whole series was to have constructive conversations about grievances and things that we did not like. And having it in an entertaining format like this is something that people are not really used to. They're used to watching a YouTube rant for 45 minutes about Kid Omega. And that goes viral as hell, right? And there's totally validation for reaction content, especially to negative content, because again, bad news always spreads better than good news.
Oh yeah.
However, in our specific comment section for the ban list, we also have a responsibility to make sure that we drive the message home to our viewers to let them know we are going to take ourselves seriously when we discuss things, but some topics and some weeks and certain things might be more severe than others. Like it has taken everything in me to not find some way to spin a Star-Lord conversation into the ban list over the last 4 weeks, because we made it very clear to ourselves that this is not about cards. And I was trying to find spins of ways to finally get something banned that is along the lines of what Star-Lord's grievances are that I can put into the ban list, but not ban Star-Lord. And I want the community to feel like they can talk openly here. And if they want to share what those things are directly, that's fine. If it's indirectly, that's also fine. When they're saying that to us, more often than not, it's people looking to be heard because they need validation for something that they're feeling is unjust. So I'm not going to ban people from commenting, take yourself seriously. As much as this is coming from the guy who has literally a red saxophone that is $5, which has completely transformed his content, and I dance to Baby Shark as a part of my regular weekly content, I know the balance between serious and silly. And I think that comes from how we communicate those messages, hence this platform.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I think that's a very fair way to describe it, because I also like that logic of just, you don't want to police the community. And I think that's a very good thing as well, right? In the end, to be like, no, let the community talk. And I do want y'all to talk, but I also do want it to be understood that, and I think we've done a good job of that, especially during what you just said right there, we are going to not take ourselves seriously, but still try to discuss whatever topics we have at the time. Because if we're serious all the time, this isn't a fun time. But if we are too jokey all the time, we also don't get to hit on things that are actual pain points. So it's like,
right,
there will be serious times, there will be joking times, and I'm fine with both. And I want to do both.
Yeah.
I just felt like I wanted to clarify that even more so as I see that comment pop up, and it will probably still pop up in this and this is definitely not comment baiting and definitely going to do nothing to stop it in the slightest.
No, not at all.
It would never. But no, legitimately, I think it's a very good way to look at it. I like that bit, and that is I am fine with not having my request on the ban list. I think that's an entirely fair exclusion. Yeah, exclusion. I'll go with that.
Yeah, it's an exclusion. I'm sorry, we're not throwing it onto the brick wall, but I understand where you're coming from, where it's about our job as creators to make sure that we get this series off the ground a certain way with a certain directive. And this is that moment where we invite the community intentionally to go down to the comment section and air your grievances, whether they be small, serious, large, silly. Whatever it ends up needing to be, this is the place to be able to do that, because not only is there reward for doing so, potentially, but there's also a very easy way to realize, hey, someone else feels this way too. Or, wow, I never looked at it that way, because you're looking at the comments section. You're interacting with the conversation down there. I say that at the end of almost every YouTube video in some way is, let's have a conversation in the comments section. Because I hate when comments are just comments. When comments turn into threads because it's conversation, I love that, because it's just the beginning of what's clearly a bigger conversation. And then that often trickles into, the Discords, and it trickles into the live chats, and that's what I want the YouTube comments section to be. And that's what I want this YouTube comments section to be also as well. So I will say,
fair.
sorry, I can't agree with you on that one. It is not going to be making the ban list.
That is entirely fair and valid. But all right, I'm assuming you most likely would have something more reasonable and probably a lot less meta, I would guess. Oh, my dog kicked my... All right, wait, pitch yours at full screen. My dog kicked one of my wires. Now I think this is where your face is. I can't tell where your face is. I'll be right back. You start it.
That is totally fine. As long as you can hear me, that's what matters. So I know I have one here that the community is going to talk about, because they have talked about it. And I've been back and forth on this one being a little bit justified, but it's now gotten to a point where I just don't think I can justify it any further. And I am tired of it. So I'm going to ban 95% of something, but allow Second Dinner to still be a business at the same time. I would like to full on ban, except for the last day of it. I would like to ban Bundle pop-ups.
He's stealing all the ones I want.
I'm assuming that means this is a meta roast right away without even saying anything further.
We're roasted. We're roasting.
All right, good. Thank God, because
100%.
Let me make sure I also put this caveat in here properly, right? I understand second dinner is a business. I get it. And they have to prompt and generate and create ways to remind the community, hey, we need to keep our business afloat. Just call it what it is, you know? And when you get a pop-up in the middle of the game, not literally the middle of the game, that used to happen, and that was a bug.
That did happen.
It was a bug. It was a confirmed bug.
It was a bug.
In the middle of the game, because that never, no. When you open the game and you get, I'm going to use the one that I have on screen right now as the perfect example of the ones that actually prompted these. New bundle notifications. Okay. From a marketer's standpoint, if you always have a shop accessible to you, presenting something with a 5-day timeline on it as like, hey, this is new and shiny, I'm actually more incentivized to dismiss it for later, even if I am considering it. However, this is where my 5% of permittance comes in. If it's like the last day of a bundle, I can understand a pop-up exclusively for last days. But when you're getting this bundle, you're going to see the thing bundle pop up today. Then you're also going to see it on the last day. And then sometimes it'll also pop up as just like a general bundle when no new bundles drop on a specific day. It'll repopulate when you open the game on day 3 of the bundle. Let's say, for example, if nothing new populates, this one will still pop up into your screen. You need, from a marketing point of view, if you're going to be intrusive to the gameplay experience, to the user experience, to incentivize spend, when you hammer it more than once outside of its normal acquisition location, which would be the shop in this case, obviously, you better hit it on the head. Sending it to me 3 times actually makes me more resistant to wanting to purchase the bundle. If you put it to me in the last 24 hours as like last chance and that's it, and that's the first time I saw it and I went, oh man, I didn't realize, I'm actually more incentivized as a consumer to look to make the FOMO reactive purchase. Sending it to me 3 times doesn't increase my desire to get the bundle, because if I want the bundle, if I'm looking for bundles, I'm always looking for the shop. And the amount of people that probably click into this, the percentage of them that would have already bought this bundle either way if it wasn't via a pop-up, is probably higher than they're estimating for, because they're going to get clicks on this for new bundle, this, that, and the other. Great, this card, awesome. But you're going to the shop every day. You're getting free user rewards, and people are going to see that. They're going to see that guaranteed because it's the top of the scroll screen every time. So throwing it additionally into the face repeatedly is just bad business practice and pushing away sales rather than promoting sales.
Yeah. No, I agree 100%. I don't even think this should be I don't even think you should get this in the last day, because like you've said before, people are naturally inclined to go to the shop because we've got free collector tokens, free credits. And if you've got the gold pass, you've got gold each and every day. People are going to the shop each and every day. And the idea that you need to let people know to go in the shop and go to the shop. And additionally, like, I don't know, maybe for new players, you could say that because, you know, there's like 19 million red dots in the UI, but
yeah,
once you know the game, you don't need to get reminded to go to the shop. I don't even care about the last day. I think the biggest thing, if they had done this, or I wish honestly with this whole UI, I wish this was for web shop bundles. Because those web shop bundles, some of those are like, wait a second, you're telling me I could unlock Majestic Wingbeat and the variant for it and get a bunch of tokens and get, I think it's like Blink or whatever it was recently.
Yeah, it was Blink.
I think
it was the sticker Blink or something like that. Like, I don't remember, but it was Blink.
I don't remember. Yeah. I could get all that stuff, and it's not in the shop. It's not there. I would have maybe paid attention, because then it's exclusive. I know there's like don't want to ruin a relationship with Apple because they'd be driving sales and stuff like that outside of their
You're in the right
well.
wheelhouse of conversation, but off base just slightly, where it's not about they can't do that for ruining a relationship with Apple. It's not about that. You know, they're allowed to have pop-ups. This was part of the giant lawsuit that permitted games to use secondary platforms to generate sales, like their own websites. And it could not be monopolized exclusively through the Apple Store and the Google Web Shop, the Google Store, I should say. So now companies can advertise, hey, go to this shop for limited rewards, or whatever the nomenclature you want to use is. And it's more about, I don't believe they're legally allowed to advertise the web bundles without having access to those bundles also in the game. I think there's certain caveats you can and cannot do when it comes to promoting going off platform for purchases of the game that can be played in a platform. I believe there's some legalities to that. So I can understand not advertising like the Wingbeat style, Majestic Wingbeat style bundle directly in the game. But for the bundles that are accessible in all of those platforms, like the Thing for Steps bundle on screen here, $50, 3,000 tokens, 2,500 gold, and you get Thing for Steps unlocked with the variant, right? If you don't already have it unlocked. I can understand needing to let me know once about it in a pop-up. But it's when I see it repeatedly that I'm like, listen, y'all, I have less want to get this, not because you reminded me. I literally am being pushed away from it. It's almost like you're walking through New York City and you see all the people kind of giving out the flyers. How many people actually read, take, and utilize the information on the flyer and that converts versus the amount of them that end up in the trash? People are so pushed away from it that they don't even want to interact. You get the same experience when you go to a shopping mall. You're walking through the mall, and everyone's least favorite part of the mall is trying to walk past those little beauty kiosks where all the girls and the guys are trying to spray you with cologne and perfume and let you know and try that smell flavor. People will go out of their way and walk far away and pretend to be on the phone just to not have to interact with those sales moments. That is the equivalent of seeing a bundle multiple times appear up as a pop-up in the Marvel Snap game.
My wife's complained about those little kiosks so often. They never spray on me. What does it say about me as a person?
You're cheap. I'm going to go with you're cheap because I would not like to go down the aroma avenue of this conversation, but I will just say simply, they don't think you can afford the projects that they are presenting to you, darling.
I just don't care about them. I work from home. Who am I impressing? The
dog.
I'm good. He doesn't care about that. If I want to impress him, I'll just grab some peanut butter.
That's fair. That's actually, yeah. I mean, for Taxi, it's just get a yogurt, have the pot from the yogurt. Yeah, that is Greek yogurt is his all-time favorite right now. He is all about that life.
Yeah, I'm not all about the pop-up life. I understand it's like a free-to-play game, and there are caveats in a free-to-play game. We don't get ads in this game, right? Where there's no like, you finished the game, now watch this 30-second ad for this other thing or whatever. Like, I appreciate that, and I understand that there are negatives to be had. This is a negative I'm really not a fan of. I don't even remember when this showed up after one of the patches. And I was like looking through the patch notes. Oh, they didn't mention this. Not to be fair, the patch notes don't really feel like they mention a lot of things normally that are actually occurring.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, you didn't mention this in the patch notes. I don't think you wanted to mention this in the patch notes. Anyway, I think this is completely fair, and we can put it right on that ban list.
Fine. The pop-ups for bundles, they have been banned. A boom.
A boom. Ooh.
There we go. Yes. You got to switch up the sound effects every now and then, because the imagination of the listener needs to go wild with, what hit the ground this time, But a boom, it's just a very proper explosion.
It's something that one of those kiosks would be using. A boom.
Yes, a boom. Brought to you by L'Oreal.
That was is it not Lorelei? Is it L'Oreal?
Lorelei. Oh God, just move on. You're gonna already get roasted.
I don't know.
This
I
is
don't know
why
stuff.
they avoid you, because they can tell from afar. You don't know the difference between L'Oreal and Lorelei.
Listen, if I see the pop up, there's especially like right after a game, I might close the game. But I have another reason why I've actually just closed Marvel Snap entirely, because I am sick and tired of waiting 30 seconds, and I know it's 30 seconds, but still in a mobile game that's meant to be very quick, I would rather hit closing the app entirely, swipe up, completely close all the history, and reopen it to finish the game that is going through 19 million animations, end of turn. Was it the Gambit destroying stuff as it also is doing all the stupid little like swarms, like bzz, 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 bzz. I'm over. I don't care. I'll close the game. I don't want those. I do not want unskippable animations. I want, if there's an animation, give me a little button in the bottom right. It's like, hey, fast forward. You can just hold this and it will just keep fast forwarding through all of them. Or it just, you don't have to wait through it all. You could just skip entirely. I do actually think a fast forward button specifically for all animations would be nice, because then when you do the cool thing, you don't have to just get fast forwarded entirely through. But at the same time, I do just want a fast forward button on animations as a whole. Do you remember how bad old Thor was?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, old Thor's. Mjolnir to me. It's just like, yeah, and Mjolnir in my head has always sounded like Rocky Balboa. I don't know why.
Oh, interesting.
It's just
Sylvester Stallone voiced it?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure of it, actually.
Nice.
But so just the looping animations, or just like
unskippable animation. I like the animations that don't just like fast forward. I don't know. I don't know what type of looping animation. Maybe it's looping animations. Maybe it's animations that that take too long. That's part of the reason why I also mentioned the Thor stuff as well. Like just, one of the nice things about Marvel Snap is that we have all these really cool animations. I even remember, I think it was during Team Clash. I think Aranya had like a move thing or whatever. Or one of the characters had like a move thing, and there was no animation, and it was so jarring. And I'm like, okay, I'm glad we do. Like, I understand that we have these animations, and I am glad about that. At the same time, once we get past like, I don't know, a couple seconds of it, I should be able to just hit fast forward and legitimately fast forward through all these animations or whatever. I am not a fan. Unskippable animations is what I am proposing to put on the ban list.
Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, I wish I could have more contention against this one. But I do agree with you. And I understand why there isn't, though, a fast forward button, because of, the timing of playing to the server. And then, sure, you can fast forward through it, but then you're also just looking at the dead board state while your opponent is watching all of the animations happen on through. And then you just got to wait and sit there, and it's awkward, and that I can understand. But the clarity of what happened is what I think is causing most of these problems, right? It all comes down to, do you need to know exactly what happened? Like Gambit's a great example of this, because Gambit, it's pretty obvious what got destroyed, what got discarded. If you really are not sure by looking at the board state, you can take a look, tap the little icon, scroll on in, understand what was destroyed, what was discarded, etc. I get that. But then sometimes there are just some ones that should not have to be watched for 16 procs. Like, I can understand to a certain degree seeing a couple of them. Like, I'll use Havoc as a great example of this, right? You're playing a Invisible Woman First Steps deck, and Havoc goes off. Okay, you're going to get 4 procs. You did Joe Costa. Do them all. at one time. Don't show me 4 animations. Show me 1, and then just minus the 12, right? Or add the 12, I should say. That's totally fine by me. If it's different targets, that's where I know the animations take longer, because then you've got things like, I'm just thinking of like a random repeat animation, like, the Flames of the Fall Tine with Clea, right? It's a random target when it gets hit. But if you play that on top of Wong, which is on top of, also then has a Joaquin Torres on top of that with Mystique, and then you play a Flames of the Fall Tine, you're going to have to watch every single one of those little feather flames so you know which target it hits every time. And that is not very fun gameplay, because I can understand certain fast forwards needing to be happening in the game, and then others that just don't need to be there because of logistics of information, right? Like the discard one was, I think, the reason that they started lightening up on the amount of fast forwards that we were getting, because there would just be moments where it's like, wait, seriously, I don't know what just happened here. Like the animation was too fast and I lost out on valuable information, and now no one knows what happened. I forget what exactly it was last time when we had the discard stuff, but I remember the discourse around it going.
We also didn't have the little buttons at the time, I think.
That's what it was, right? We didn't have the buttons to see what was discarded or what was destroyed.
You still can't even tell, by the way, if they discarded like
Apocalypse, a Scorn,
you still don't know what that is, because who knows? I assume it was Apocalypse, but also can't tell. Now we have Weapon H, and there's really no way to tell.
Yeah, no, 100%. And Khonshu and Scorn, and how many swarms do they have now? And you try to do the math with the hand size of like, okay, they discarded 6 things, but now there's 3 things left in the hand, but I only saw a swarm, and then the fast forward happened. Okay, so then what was the last item? Like, I can understand some of those where we need to see the animations, and it is an inconvenience of time, but it does actually make a gameplay impact. I don't need to watch Hazmat fart that many times in a Toxic Surfer deck. I really don't.
Some people want it.
No, they don't.
No, some people unfortunately do. It's the internet. Some people do.
Well, to each their own, but this isn't the place to venture down those.
Wrong, but
venture down those paths of pleasure. Like, no, you don't need to do that via Hazmat here in this game. And I'm sorry, I'm with you. It's excessive where we need to reevaluate what is considered too long versus valuable information. And I know that's a constant, and the metas are always changing, and there's always going to have to be changes and updates to when to use fast forward, when not to use fast forward. I know there's thresholds that the team has where it decides, okay, now we implement a fast forward because this animation is going to take X amount of time for the end of the game. So we're going to skip this specific 1 card animation to move to the next card faster. Like, those thresholds need to be adjusted, because they're bad. Just call it what it is. Like, they're bad.
There's the, I think you hit it correctly, though, with the end of turn stuff. I think that's the biggest one that always, like, that's the one, especially when that was in the meta very prominently. I don't need to see Thena get +3 power repeatedly. I don't need to see Havoc. It's only going to be 7 times at most. I don't need to see Sunspot gain that 1 point of power that many times. I don't need to see, Hydra Bob just keep bouncing around the board. It's not going to change that much because he's still only going to end up in the same spot. There's so many of these cards where it's just like, cool thing punched his knuckles together.
Yeah. Clap, clap.
I don't need to be there for that long.
Clap,
it's
clap.
so bad.
Yeah.
It's so bad. I hate it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think it's also part of that new stuff with like all those like Prodigy, Jocasta, Invisible Woman, all of those cards.
Yeah. Because originally it was just Odin Wong that was annoying, and put insert on reveal here, right? It did not matter whether it was Ironheart, whether it was Surfer, whether it was Hazmat. That was the annoying one more than anything else. And one of the reasons that we ended up actually getting fast forward to begin with was because of Wong plus Odin. Now there are so many different ways to duplicate things in the game, which is a conversation for another cocktail. But because there are so many ways to duplicate, I think it's also needing to make the team reevaluate how VFX are created with the understanding that this effect could be duplicated, because pretty much any effect in this game, minus I think skills, any effect in this game can be duplicated in some way, shape, or form, whether it's Prodigy, Jocasta, Moonstone, Absman, Rogue, Chameleon,
Copycat, Iron Lad.
Copycat. Exactly. It's just, there's so many different ways to do the same thing in repetition in one moment that you have to re-look at not just the old animations and the priority of like how long is too long, but when you're building any part of the game, like we're about to get objective, right? Objective animations, I can say confidently, some of them are really long and you get duplications on them. It's a long final experience. So yeah, like there's a lot you got to kind of factor in with that, I think is the best way I can word that without going too off the deep end. But I'm really like frustrated with the fast forward mechanic, because it feels like it was a tool that could have been an assistant and it is just not being optimized because it's on the bottom of the list of stuff to do.
I feel like that's the key of a lot of the stuff we've talked about today. The basis of it is fine. It has a good base. But as time has evolved and this game has gotten more expansive, more diverse, more like all the other things, it needs to be expanded upon. We need to see more things happening with these types of mechanics. We need to see more stuff happening with this emote wall. We need to see more things happening with this fast forward. Like a lot of these things, they do well, but they are not updated for where the game is, where we are in 2026. And I think I feel like it is legitimately just a real issue that hopefully does get resolved, because I do like it. I think, again, all of this stuff is to be like, I like the animations in this game. Like I mentioned before, when we didn't have them for a second inside for that one move card, I remember inside of Team Clash, I was like, oh God, this is jarring. I hate this. I understand the need for them and I want that. Yeah. But I also understand that like there still can be too much of a good thing. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, that's the basis of this bit. And this is the closest we've ever gotten to talking about like current meta stuff and during a ban list. It's true. Again, one of the goals that you mentioned originally at the beginning, right? Where we're like, we don't want to talk about the meta. We don't want to talk about the meta. We're going to try to keep this like very generic, but no, but we're getting close. We're towing lines. you're
towing a specific line because you're talking like it's kind of been the accidental trend of today's topics, which is the balance between progression of new content, revision of old content, as well as reparation of technical debt. And Second Dinner's made it very clear since they've gone to self-publishing that they need to undo some of the things that got the game off the ground that are inefficient for the game that they want it to become. So that's called paying back technical debt. Instead of having thing work on the inside like this, have it work like this, or use these systems or softwares or processes, etc. And yeah, your hands up. What's up?
I was going to say, could you pull up go to the main play screen and hit the deck tracker there? Yeah, that's a great example of a place where they have fixed it in terms of like updating that for modern day, right? So it used to be like this really annoying scroll bar, but now we have this much cleaner layout in which we could actually just see not only the cards, you can hover over the cards, see their abilities. You can you can click on each and every one of the decks, do all of that stuff, and you can scroll. Like, this is clean. And when we're talking about this stuff that we do, also, I forgot like the little shine effect that it does as you click on each one. God, I love that stuff. But you're looking at this stuff, and this is exactly what we want. We want this type of stuff where it's like, okay, cool, update this. And the biggest problem with this is that it's not a light feat to do this.
Right. 100%. It takes resources. It takes time. It takes input. It takes commitment from Second Dinner to say, okay, this person is now going to be paid to focus on this. Here is the value that we get from them doing this. To be clear, certain things have more value than others. This update of like selected deck layout has incredibly low value. UI for emotes has incredibly low value for transformation of what's going to generate more sales. It is a tough thing to justify, make this look prettier because we're in a new world, right? We're in a new world of Marvel Snap. And I can understand that balance, but it doesn't change the fact that it is still a grievance in accordance.
Yeah. No, I think that's entirely fair. I like that. That's, I think, a very good way to point it out. Just be like, yeah, it's not the sunk cost. I don't know what the type of fallacy is there, but it's just, is this worth the investment of resources that Second Dinner would actually have to spend to take care of it?
Right.
Unfortunately, often not. But as time goes on, because even though it still has a fine foundation, they still like, okay, well, the bricks are good. It's still fine. The bricks need, we need to get some more mortar in there, fix it up a little bit, just so that today we can not have to worry about putting Ethernet through all this.
I'll give you a perfect example that I can compare to this, because as a fellow New Yorker, I am very confident walking around New York City. And if you've gone to New York City or you live in New York City, you know, as you walk around, you walk on the sidewalks, and you're very often walking under construction scaffolding, right? There's almost always scaffolding outside of buildings in some way, shape, or form. And it seems like some of these scaffoldings are just there permanently. They've been there for a decade or longer. The reason that's happening is because if there's a structural integrity issue, or there needs to be work done on the outside of a building, if that reparation is going to cost, let's say, $200,000 to repair on a New York City tall building of any kind, what would you rather do if you're that business? Spend $200,000 on making that reparation, or spend $10,000 to pay for the scaffolding and then pay the fine of $5,000 per year because you still have the scaffolding up? That is how I can explain certain elements of Marvel Snap. It works. It's not the right way to fix it, but it's not broken either. And as of now, we have to leave it as is, so we can bring new things to the store. We can bring new things on the inside of the shop, inside of the building. Now, Second Dinner has committed to working on that technical debt. And we can tell that even just by the fact that we're not getting loads of new content outside of cards for what appears, at least from the team answers. They've mentioned draft mode, but not for a long, long time. So they're paying back that technical debt. They're fixing the internal stuff. They're slowly getting ready to remove the scaffolding. That's why I think it's so frustrating, because some of us have been here for 3 years, and I'm tired of looking at scaffolding.
Yeah, it's fair. I think that's a very good and fair way to look at it. I don't know how you're going to work that into a title for scaffolding, but best of luck to you.
Something with the word fold and cards, and I don't know. I'll figure it out. But the scaffolding of Snap is collapsing. I don't know. We'll figure something out. I'll generate some ideas in some way.
That's not my problem, thankfully. I just have to hit the collab link whenever you send that to me.
This is true. You just, this is what people who work with me are used to. Just show up, be pretty, and I got the rest. Bring it on. So that's what I do. I try to make your life easy because I'm really proud of the content that we have and that we're able to create. And clearly the community agrees with us because they interact and they watch and they share and they comment. And I think that's how we'll segue into the user comments to take a look and see if we have an aligned comment for this week. So Would you like to present first or second? Because I've always gone first on this just because I know it's easier, but I'm going to give you the option this time.
You always keep giving me the option. If you just did one, I would accept it no matter what. I don't know. Now I want to change it.
Yeah. Now there's pressure,
Now I'll be contrarian. Let's change it up. All right. I'll show mine off.
Okay. You got it.
And I think technically you know yours. So you'll in the same way that I always know like what the response is, you'll know yours when you see it. But let's pull up the viewer for what I had for my comment.
All right.
Yep. Ban me. Splits of the same variant taking up separate slots in the cards menu. I get why different variants might be separate, but I don't understand why completed splits can't be tucked into a drop-down menu under the incomplete split of that variant. And I think this is a fair one. And if you did not choose this today, I also, again, because I already have this as a topic that I want to talk about at some point in the future, because I think it's a very fair point. This, like, it's not even a tech debt thing. I don't even know, but it's just like, it's just been a way that the UI from Marvel Snap has existed since the very beginning, where it just says, okay, cool. If I type in a very specific, like Vincenzo Riccardi, right? I believe that's the way you say the name, but who's done all the art for the specific new characters this season. If I want to pull up one of his things, I'm going to get 19 of the same splits that I've already done on Absorbing Man. I don't just get one. It's rough out here.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. I'll second that one as a good potential candidate. I did read that one. I did not pick that one though. Yeah. I hate to report that I did not pick the same one, but I can understand this one making reappearances in the future too, because when you're especially because, the whole UI, which we've already gotten on the ban list, I can't even say filtering, but the way that the cards are presented in that layout, just like in general, like the way that those cards are presented, like I have on the screen Sunspot. If you just have it as regular scrolling, I don't need to see every single one of those like that. Now, sure, of course, I understand. Yes, click favorites. It's not the end of the world, but it is when it keeps defaulting back to this. And it's just more buttons and more clicks that are completely unnecessary and doesn't make for a good user experience. So I understand where Maiden of Air is coming from. However, I leaned a different direction. I leaned with Lando DM8, who started to talk about, I think the current collection track rewards need to be banned. But it would first require an update then to the ban to make sure we don't revert back to how the rewards are now. Titles need to be removed from the main collection track. Collector's tokens could use a slight bump. Why the split between 150 and 200 credits? Too many gold tickets per 120 levels. There's a lot that needs updating and then banning. And I 100% agree. Similar to what we talked about with the limited time game modes and getting tickets in the premium pass, which makes no sense. And we banned that. Very much so. Like, if I don't interact with Conquest, I shouldn't be given as a reward for splitting my card the ability to go play a game mode and just not use said reward thing. Like, I don't understand it. Like, I have gold tickets. I could if I wanted to. I don't touch Conquest. This is not my cup of tea and not how I like to play my games of Marvel Snap. If I'm going to do that, I'm going to play a friendly or I'm going to play in a tournament. Conquest is not how I spend my time. I prefer the single games, the single time, the latter. 100% agreed that on the collection track, there's no reason for us to have the collector's reserves be as bad as they currently are.
Yeah, the collector's reserves definitely could be. There's some real improvement there. I saw that one as well. I did not choose that one because it felt. I'm trying to be careful about the way I say, like, okay, I want to ban this thing, but I'm also not trying to say rework or like ban part or something. I don't know. I was trying to be really careful and specific in that stuff. So I went with the other one, but I do think there's a real conversation to be had about this. And I'm uncertain how much that conversation is the best for the ban list, because as much as I want to say like ban these specific rewards, I could tell you probably for about half of the things. I think maybe all but one of the things that they listed. I think I know why they exist as such, which isn't a reason people want to hear, but I think I know that stuff, which is it's unfortunate. Yeah, I think that the reward system, they don't feel like rewards. The best part about that rewards track, in my personal, and this is from someone who, again, I have all the 700 gold variants in the game. I don't have all the variants. I'm not super tech god, but I have all the 700 gold. And the best part about that collection track is that whenever a new 700 gold variant comes out, I don't buy it. I just open the reserves to get it.
And I get that. I mean, it's a small niche community like yourself that is able to capitalize on that, but it is something to note. However, every 10 reserves is 3,000 tokens. It used to be spotlight keys back in the day, and I get that. But the other 9, like, given the amount of variance we have in this game,
you mean variance as in
TS.
Things changing, not variant.
No.
TS, not CE.
Cards that have pretty pictures. Given the amount of variance that now exists in the game because of the amount of cards, if you want the game to be incentivizing, splitting cards and making your unique collection, there's got to be a different balance between exclusively getting access to those cards when they rotate into the 9 slots into the shop, or maybe just have a couple, I'd rather have one more variant than extra tickets for Gold Conquest. I think everybody pretty much is going to agree with that. So the whole the list of 9 in the collector's reserves as they stand could definitely be banned, because that list of 9 is, again, for the resource that came out when it did, it was good-ish for the time of snap packs. Sorry, not snap packs, for the time of spotlight keys. And it worked given the amount of things that we had in the game, between game modes, things to do, number of cards, etc. Now we have so much more. This list is outdated.
Yeah.
It's the theme of the day.
Yeah. I'm excited for, I kid you not, actually, I'll say this, when you saw guest collection screen, I know what I'm talking about next week. So there's a lot of stuff to talk about, I think, still. And I got worried. I was like, oh shoot, like there's 3 of the same things that I was thinking about that got mentioned. I've now thought of like 3 different other ones. So I think I think there's plenty of stuff that could keep going on the ban list, right? This wall might keep getting fuller and fuller. We got stuff to talk about, even if we do agree with the comments. Neither one made it to the ban list today. Neither one of you, I'm so sorry, didn't get the season pass, but doesn't mean you don't get the opportunity in the future. And if you want the opportunity in the future, make sure you go down below and use the hashtag #BanMe and say what's bothering you in Marvel Snap. Say what you want banned in Marvel Snap. What do you want removed entirely? Let us know. And since there is a brand new season coming up, you could start off the new season potentially, or at least, start off the weekend of the new season with the season pass with, I think, as data mine suggests, En Sabah Noor. I don't know. We'll see that pretty soon, but it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, there's always going to be something for gamers to need to complain about, to look at, to gripe. And this is that platform. This is the place where you as a community can feel safe going down into the comment section and airing your grievances, because we care about this game too. And we like to have a conversation surrounding it. Sometimes it's positive, sometimes it's negative, but it's something that I hope that you've been enjoying, especially now in this longer format as we reach the podcast world through Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and basically anywhere else I can get to connect this show. I will try to do so for the next couple. All of the past episodes also are going to be uploaded and backdated, so you're going to be able to see all 5 episodes. If you have never seen this show before, they're all available on the platforms, so get ready, take a listen, because there's a lot on the ban list, and we've gone through this for now the past month, and who knows what the next month is going to bring. So Mr. Not My Dance, do you have anything else you'd like to say?
I feel like we'll be looking at a different age in the future.
Yes, that's called just getting older.
It's the age of apocalypse.
Yo, check the mic 1 2.
How many poppy seed bagels would you need to make a replica of the Great Pyramids?
Welcome to the band list.